Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? So glad to be here with you on this new Monday and new month. My name is Patricia Hayes. If you are joining for the first time, welcome. I am an executive advisor, empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist. And all that means is I love helping people who are ready to go to the next level in their professional careers and in their business and are looking forward to leveraging their one of their best assets, which is their professional relationships, and to do so in a very authentic way that is sustainable and aligned with their values. So, as I said, we are starting a new month, which means a new theme. And this month's theme is Bloom Where You're Planted. And this is kind of going along with that whole little spring thing, right? But it's really about making sure that wherever you are right now, that you are aware of the opportunities, aware of your mindset, and all of those things that you can grow right where you are. Too often we kind of wait to, oh, when I get to this next thing, then that's when I'll invest more time or that's when I'll do these things. That is not the way to go, right? You really need to look at where you are currently and figuring out what can you do to get, to increase your growth and your professional development right now, right where you are. So that's the focus this month. And today, in particular, we are starting with you gotta get that mindset straight, right? So we're talking about empowered thinking and your next level goals. And here's the thing: I really liked this from when I did a little bit of this discussion once before, and one of the things I like to always say is you have to not just nurture your network and the people around you, but you have to nurture your own self. You have to nurture your mindset and where you are. And that means feeding, weeding, all of the things, right? We're going to go with it with all the analogies. But you have to do that because it truly is a part of the growth process. And so here's the question I'm going to start with, and I want you to think about it on the back end as well, is what is your capacity to move beyond the box? What I mean the box, like the whole little where you say you are or where people are trying to put you. What is your capacity to move beyond that? That is so, so important because it is absolutely about nurturing your mindset. And when you're nurturing your mindset, it's all about building your capacity and creating stretchable moments. I love that. That means what can you do to stretch yourself as you grow, as you challenge yourself? What are you doing to create stretchable moments? And I want you to sit with that over the course of this next week. Do some reflection and engage in that and then take action on that. Okay. So today, like I said, we're talking about empowered thinking and um, next level goals. And the thing I really want you to think about are we got a few points we're going to talk about here today, and it's what's blocking your next level growth. What are those things that are blocking your next level growth? And that's really where I want to sit today in this conversation. And the first thing that I know we're going to be talking about is absolutely it's thinking. I like that little word because it's really and truly what it is. Like your brain is not doing the things and engaging in the ways that you want it to. And so it means you're getting off track and it's getting a little dirty. And so I really want us to think about that. What does it mean when you're engaged in stinking thinking? And what can you do to move beyond that so that you can grow? Okay. That's really where we want to go. All right. So, what does it mean to have stinking thinking? Well, this is when we have the negative Nelly. So that's the external, when someone's coming in and just feeding you a bunch of junk, right? Now, here's the thing: there's a difference between constructive criticism, where someone who is hopefully engaged in your embettering you, even if there doesn't seem like they're supportive, but where it's actual criticism that has some value, has some weight to it that you can take and learn from. That is not what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about the person, the things that are feeding those negative things into your brain for no legitimate purpose, for no growth purpose. It is not empowering. It's really based out of fear, probably on that person's, from their mindset, right? Because they don't know, they don't understand, they're not supportive. So it's kind of like, well, what are you really doing? Or why are you doing that? And not from curiosity, but more of a you shouldn't be kind of mentality that's behind it, right? So those are the negative Nellies. Those are the folks who are always, there's always going to be somebody out there who is not going to be supportive, who's going to question everything you do, because they can't get there, right? It's the crabs in the bucket where they're trying to pull you down because they can't get up there themselves, all right? So there's that mentality. There's also the mentality that comes from within where you're feeding these things to yourself, right? And that stinking thinking is has something, whether something has been internalized or some fear that you have is building to that and creating that negative environment, creating that negative thought process that's going on. And this is really about awareness, okay? You really must be aware of where your mind is taking you over time, and engaging with it not in a uh, not in a blame or not in a judgmental way. That's really where I'm headed. Not in a judgmental way, but really in from a spirit of curiosity of, okay, wait, what's going on with me that just popped in there, right? A lot of times we don't do that. We take it and we feed off of it, and then it just snowballs. And what I'm going to encourage you to do, and it's a daily journey, right? This is not something that just happens overnight and it's quote all better, because some of these patterns will repeat themselves, and that's part of the growth, right? Because your responses get better, your internal boundaries and all of that strengthen over time so that you can answer or respond in a better, much more empowered way across time. So be curious with yourself, not judgmental. When those things come up, acknowledging, what's that fear? What's driving that thought? Was there an experience you had? Was there something that happened that kind of took a chunk out of your confidence? Whatever that might be, it's a matter of being very aware of it. And this is where you get to nurture your mindset, get the support that you need, engage in some conversations, so that you can learn what you can do to strengthen that point, so that you don't have it, pulling at you, or to overcome it, by realizing you're not alone, all of those great things. Okay. So, that because it is absolutely a block. Remember, we're talking about how can you be more empowered so that you can get to those next level goals. And if you have stinking thinking, negative mindset, that's not an environment for growth. Okay, that will not just block your growth; it will actually um, absolutely make it get stuck so that you can't move forward at all. So be mindful of that. The second the second point about what's blocking your next level growth when it comes to having empowered thinking is inflexibility. This is a bigger one than most people like to give credit for, right? Because a lot of times you like to think, oh, I'm very much flexible. I like to go with the flow and all of that. And guess what? For most people, that is not really the truth if they're being honest with themselves. Okay, because here's where you get inflexible, right? Now let's think about what inflexible means. It's the opposite of flexible. Flexible means you can bend, you can move, all of that. Inflexible is about rigidity, about not being one to give, or because when you're inflexible, things can break as well. Think about that. Carry that thought all the way through. So, what are some of those inflexible thought processes and things that feed into you that will affect your ability to grow, and to be able to achieve your goals? Well, here are the most common ones. I can't do that because whatever comes after because really doesn't matter, because what does matter is the I can't do that. I can't because, all right? Whatever has built up to make you believe or think that you cannot, that is the piece of wait, being inflexible. Now, are there opportunities or are there things that can come up that can be a challenge? Absolutely. No one's living in la la land over here, right? There are definitely moments that arise that are very challenging to our ability to get things done. That doesn't mean it can't be done. It means there might be some barriers to overcome. That means there might need to be some more creative thinking and how you approach something. But that is different than saying I cannot. All right. Being willing to acknowledge the barriers, the challenges, and then figure out how to move around it. That is the flexibility we're looking for. The moving past the I cannot. The second one that is most common and very, very annoying to those of us that do like to think outside the box is the phrase, well, we've always done it this way. Oh my gosh, that one there really makes me crazy. I was like, well, we've always done it this way, but this is the way we do it. Okay. And that way may very well be good, but is there a better way? Or is there an opportunity to do something different? And a lot of times it's the fact that something is different is what puts up the block, right? Because people think, well, if we've already done it this way and it's not bad and there's no harm, why would we change it? That's really where that thought continues. Here's the thing, just because something has worked all this time, first of all, does not mean it's going to continue to work in perpetuity, right? That's the first thing. And secondly, just because it's worked all the time doesn't mean that there isn't an opportunity to think about something new that could work. Now, someone will say, well, what if that new thing fails? Guess what? That's fine too, because it means it has served as a learning tool and an opportunity to see what doesn't work so that you can move to the next level. That is how growth happens. Growth doesn't happen from continued success over and over and over again doing the same thing, right? Because at some point that begins to stagnate. Growth happens when actually when you fail, you learn and you adapt. All right. And adapting means what? Being flexible, going around, doing something a little bit different, considering something different. Okay. And that's where a lot of times we get stuck with that inflexible thinking. And I want to challenge you to think about where it is where you're being inflexible and how you approach situations, challenges, whatever it may be in your career and in your business. And then to think about, name 3 to 5 ways you could do something different, right? And still reach the same goal, right? Because it's about the goal, it's about the end process. It's not always about the process to get there. Sometimes it's let's do it, let's take a different road. Let's use a different process. It's very much the travel mentality or travel analogy where there can be many different ways to get to one destination. What are you going to do if the road that you normally travel gets blocked off? How are you going to get to your destination? Or are you going to declare that it can't be done? That's what we're talking about. Okay. So think about that when you are planning for, your own growth, when you're engaging and trying to get to your next level goal. You don't want just one pathway to get there. You want to consider other ways that you can achieve that same goal, even if there is a block, a boulder, a barrier in the way on your first choice. All right. It's that whole thing about plan A, B, and C. Make sure you have those so that you can keep going And that means you have to be flexible, which means you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. We talk about that a lot here in Coffee Time Career Chat about getting out of your comfort zone and challenging yourself and challenging the way that you think and approach things. All right. All right. The third thing, oh, I love this one. The third thing that can block our next level growth is inauthentic reflection. What does that mean? It means you have got to be honest with yourself. It is a key growth tool. And this can be tough, especially if it means telling yourself or acknowledging to yourself that you were wrong about how you approached something, right? Um, Being authentic, genuinely, which means, not being fake, being real, being honest, doing that and engaging in that authenticity in your reflection time is so valuable to your growth and achieving at the next level. Because here's the thing, those people that refuse to see their own weaknesses means that they are not really giving themselves a strong foundation for their strengths. Wow, how about that? Right? Think about that. If you don't acknowledge your weakness, are you really giving yourself what you need to build up your strengths? And I will challenge you and say no, because part of being able to build up your strengths is knowing where your weaknesses lie. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to eliminate the weaknesses, or that you may not even, there may be certain things you can't eliminate, but you can minimize them. You can put them to the side. You can do whatever so that you can have your strengths to come and shine through. Okay, so it's not a hardcore either or. That's really the thing that we have to remember. So much people think, well, it's all this or it's nothing, and that is not true. That's another element of inflexible thinking. So they kind of join together. But being honest with yourself about where things are, about what your opportunities really are, or what can you do, is a part of that reflection. Now, here's the thing, people will say, well, if you're so focused on being realistic, isn't that limiting my ability to dream? No. Being honest with yourself about where you are does not mean you can't still dream ahead to something bigger and greater than where you are right now, right? But you don't want to have a dream that's put you so far out there that you are completely oblivious to what's going on around you right now today, right? There's a little fine line that kind of gets walked. You have to be able to dream ahead, right? I love that. Dream ahead while still maintaining some balance with acknowledging where you are today. Okay. So, acknowledging where you are today will help give you the foundation you need to achieve your dream for the future. All right. Definitely want you to think about that. So, here's what we've talked about today. We've talked about, what blocks next level thinking, and it's thinking, or excuse me, what blocks next level growth, and it's thinking, inflexibility, and being inauthentic in your reflection. In other words, not being honest with yourself about where you are, so that you can truly put yourself in the position of growing to the next level professionally, in whatever means that you want. And I want to wrap it back up by remembering what's that question we started off, which is, what is your capacity to move beyond the box? What is your capacity? What can you do to expand yourself so that you can be more open and ready to grow to that next level, to be more empowered in how you're thinking, how you're approaching things, what you're considering? All right. And we want to make sure that capacity is one that can expand and that's not contracting. Okay. Make sure you create those stretchable moments. I love that. If you want a little bit more of this, I'm probably going to do a little bitty, I don't know if it's going to be a series, it may just be a single video where we're going to talk a little bit more about the 5 mistakes of stinking thinking. All right. So keep an eye out for that later this week. And I will share as we go a little bit more in depth just on that topic alone, because I think it's absolutely worth it. And if you have any questions or, you want to get on a call and chat, just, hit me up in the DMs, reach out to me via email. You can check that all out on patriciavhayes.com, where you can email me and we can get connected and get on the calendar, or check the link. All right. You should be able to schedule if you check the link in my bio. It's been fantastic talking to you today. I look forward to continuing this conversation about blooming where you are planted for the rest of this month. And let me hear from you, okay? Enjoy your day and your week. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.